Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the REDX podcast. My name is Andrew, and I am super excited because today we've got a return guest. And if you've watched this podcast before, you've definitely, you could probably recognize him. Today we are lucky enough to have him right here in office with us, right here in the podcast room. Kent Brown. Kent, how you doing, my man?
Doing great, Andrew. How you doing, man?
I'm doing fantastic. Me and Kent did a special training all morning together. And now he's here to offer a little bit of the same training. And I'm super excited because if you stick around to the end of this podcast, we are going to drop a special, amazing training offer that REDX has put together and that Kent helps us run. So it's amazing. Kent is a local agent here in Utah, and he has killed it this year. Kent, how many transactions have you closed so far this year?
52.
52. That's incredible. And how many, what's your goal by the end of the year?
Goal is 70.
70. Okay. So
and it'll be tight, but
right. So Kent, how much of your how much of your business would you say comes from prospecting?
Probably 80% right now.
80%
comes from prospecting.
Gotcha.
Yep.
And how long have you been in the industry, Kent? For those who
4 years.
4 years. So you've been in the industry for 4 years. You're already making upwards of 50 transactions a year.
Yep.
Most of that's from prospecting.
Majority of it is from prospecting. Still trying to build that database.
Yeah.
To get that repeat and return business.
Excellent. Well, it sounds like you're making a killing, and I'm super excited. Let's check the comments here. For those of you joining live, please chat in your questions for Kent. Let us know where you're from, what you're doing. Hello. We've got people chiming in already. Today, we are going to have an amazing discussion while we have Kent here in office today. We're going to be talking about the most important foundational prospecting principles that every agent should know, especially if you're going to be prospecting, right? We're going to cover why prospecting is important, how to overcome your fear of getting on the phone, and then the skills that you need to consistently produce results. We've only got about 30 minutes to pack all of this in, but like I said, if you want a deeper dive, if you want to really get a thorough training one-on-one with Kent, stick around to the end because we've got an amazing offer for a special training program that we have just started. So again, to the audience, hello. I'll throw some of these up on screen. Welcome. If you have any questions for Kent, let us know. Let's dive right in, Kent. First point that we want to discuss today is understand why agents should prospect, right? And you as a new agent, you started prospecting basically right out the gate, right?
Yeah. So I had the good fortune of actually working for REDX for about 5 years on the sales team and left 4 years ago to start my real estate adventure, I suppose. So because of that, I was used to prospecting and just kind of got the opportunity to see what agents were doing in their business to then go and mimic that in my business. And it's worked out great so far. But the biggest reason why you should prospect is you're already prospecting every day. Unless you're exclusively working with people that you know, you're talking to strangers, right?
Right.
I mean, you're a salesperson in this industry, so you are going to be, in essence, prospecting, whether that's a warm lead of someone that referenced or referred you over, or if it's a cold lead where you're talking to a stranger on the phone. Either way, you're kind of using the same scripts, same motions. Right. So it's worked out really well. But you should prospect because it allows you to have real estate conversations every day. If you're not prospecting, you're not going to have that opportunity. So you get rusty.
Well, like you said at the beginning of this podcast episode, it's about building that database, right? Yeah. And sometimes it takes anywhere from 5 to 10. Some people, it takes 20 years to build a solid database because ultimately we love prospecting at REDX, but ultimately the goal is to have repeat and referral business, right? Yeah. To have a strong enough sphere of influence that as long as you nurture that sphere, as long as you maintain those relationships, you'll have people referring you business and having people coming back over the course of their lifetime to work with you again. So that's incredible. So let's dive into some of, understanding why we prospect. I think a lot of that is a numbers game. I've heard you say that. I've heard other agents say that. It's all a numbers game. So let's define some of those numbers and some of those KPIs, those key performance indicators of prospecting. Can you kind of take us from, the most general sense down to the sale there?
So, and honestly, KPIs is really to know what you should be doing in order to get business. So I look at it, how many contacts do I need to make, or how many calls to a contact?
Mm-hmm.
In general, with REDX or with really any company, it's going to be from 10 calls per one contact.
Okay.
And then contacts, depending on what lead type you're calling, it's about 24 contacts per appointment.
Okay.
And then depending on your closing ratio on those appointments to closings, and closings equals money. So,
well, let's define some of those things, right?
Yeah.
What a call obviously is any number that you dial, right? Whether they pick up or not, whether it's the right number or not. What would you define as a contact?
So there's a lot of ways to define it. I think the simplest way to do it is to say a contact is someone that knows who I am and why I'm calling.
Okay. So, hi, my name is Ken Brown.
Yep.
I'm a real estate agent. Contact.
They hang up, contact.
Okay.
I mean, that was essentially saying, no, thank you. No, I'm not interested, but thank you.
Right. So even if they say no, even if they hang up on you, as long as they have your number in their phone even, and they know your name and why you're calling, you call that a contact.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a numbers game.
Right.
So the more you're playing the game, the more money you're going to make, the better your business is going to be.
Right.
So reward yourself for putting in the effort.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So you got a contact. The next step, what would you say, is a lead, or is there something in between a contact and a lead?
Yeah. So contact, lead is someone that's going to buy. Everybody has their own definition. My definition is someone that's going to buy within the next 30 days.
Okay.
And then an appointment is probably the next step above that.
Gotcha.
And so it's funny. I do a lot of coaching with Mike Ferry. He says this a lot. But setting an appointment is 90% mindset, which it's so true. In the beginning, you don't know what to say. And then if you get an appointment, you're like, oh crap, what am I going to do with this appointment?
Right. Right.
And so that has helped me a ton to be like, okay, 90% of this is mindset. I know that if I set an appointment, I'm going to rock it on the listing appointment, but I also have the materials to bring out to them.
Okay, excellent. So we've got calls to contacts to leads, and kind of appointments juggled in there. And then from those appointments, you make contracts, you close sales. That's where you make the money.
Yep.
For maybe an average agent or a beginning agent, right? How many dials a day? Let's say they want to sell 2 homes a month. Can you break down the numbers for maybe a newer agent of how many calls they'll have to make, how many contacts they should aim for, appointments set to 2 homes sold a month?
For just the average agent?
Just the average agent. Maybe when you first started calling, or however that looks.
So I would be really liberal with your numbers there. Okay. So I would say calls isn't necessarily as important as just contacts, raw contacts that you're going to make. I think calls is important. More so if you're like, well, I'm just not connecting with anybody. Again, it's 90% mindset. If you're thinking nobody's going to pick up, it's weird. Nobody will pick up because you don't want them to.
Right.
So then you won't have good conversation. So if you get contacts, I would say anywhere between 30 and 40 as a new agent.
Okay. A day.
A day.
Okay.
Yep. Well, per appointment, I would say 40.
Okay.
If you're calling expireds and FSBOs. So contacts to appointments, you're probably going to need to go on 2 or 3 appointments. And that's a big thing. If you're a new agent, just go on as many appointments as you possibly can. Because again, that's going to create the mindset of, I'm confident on appointments, therefore I want to go on them. So I'm going to get on the phone, and we'll push you to do that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. So if we're looking at these numbers,
so contacts 40,
okay,
appointments, let's say 3,
okay,
per listings taken, and then in this market, a listing taken is going to sell if you price it right. So
for even the most beginner of agents, beginning prospecting agents, would you say 100 calls a day, 200 calls a day? How many calls a day to get that 40 contacts in a month to hopefully get those 2 listing appointments?
Depends on your dialer. If you're using a single line or a triple line.
Right.
And who you're calling, if you're calling mobile numbers, DNC numbers, that's all going to factor into it. So that's a pretty broad question.
Right. Okay. So maybe hours of prospecting a day.
If you don't have an appointment, what else do you have to do?
That's a good point. So call until you get an appointment.
Call until you get an appointment.
Gotcha.
So that's the thing I would look at. Don't don't burn yourself out. What my coach challenged me to do is call until noon. If I didn't have anything afternoon, but I was consistently calling, to go home.
Mm.
And that way it just gave me a reward to be like, okay, I did my job. I can go home now.
Right.
That's not the same for everybody, but if you do that, I promise you will not have too many empty afternoons.
Okay.
Because prospecting it works.
Yeah.
And your confidence will go up as you do it.
Excellent. And I love that point of you've got to build that confidence. You've got to keep prospecting to see the fruits of your labor, right? Come full circle.
Yep. I mean, you think about it, real estate is a 90-day cycle game.
Right.
And that's what's so hard about it. It's not every 2 weeks you're getting something out of it. It's every 3 months you're getting something out of it.
Gotcha. And Joe here has made a good comment that I think is worth throwing up here. He said, I think if they hang up and you're not able to present an offer, it's maybe not a contact, but to each their own as long as you're consistent. Joe, I think you said it great there. I think as long as you're being consistent with your numbers, as long as you define them for what works for you, if you want to be a little bit more stringent about a contact is only someone who I've made an offer or who I've had maybe a 3-minute conversation with, that's totally fine. As long as you're consistent and as long as you create those numbers and try and meet your goals, you're consistent with those definitions.
So to Joe's point, I think contacts change as you get deeper and deeper into the game, right?
Right.
So I don't get hung up on hardly at all anymore. Really, right. I usually can get my message in. So what a contact is for me is a little bit different. But again, if you're newer or just starting prospecting, don't beat yourself up. If someone hangs up on you, they gave you their answer. So take it.
Excellent. I love that. And I think that's a good segue into our next point, which is how to overcome your fear of prospecting, right? Because I think a lot of agents are hesitant to prospect. They're hesitant to get on the phone. The trainings that we've been doing these last few mornings that we'll talk more about at the end, a lot of the people on those said, I just am nervous. I'm too anxious to get on the phone. I don't want to be rejected. I don't, So can you talk to us a little bit about that, especially tactics on how agents who are new to prospecting can overcome that fear and get into that momentum of doing it consistently?
So I think a lot of it goes back to your numbers, for sure, knowing your numbers. One thing that I love that my broker says, she said, for all of you that have kids out there, she says, do you like making dinner for your kids every night? Do you like making dinner for yourself, Andrew?
Yeah.
No, but you do it because you have to.
Right.
So figure out that reason why you're needing to prospect.
Right.
But a lot of it comes back to a good pre-prospecting routine.
Right.
So everything as far as getting over the fear is going to come back to mentally preparing yourself to do it each day.
Right. Absolutely. And just so everyone out there knows, we've done a few other podcasts with Kent, and one of them he touched and went into detail on his pre-prospecting routine. I am going to put that link in the comments here, so please go check that out. But let's do just kind of a really quick overview of your pre-prospecting routine.
Yeah. So it's important to know that your pre-prospecting routine starts the night before. We have so much energy that we can produce every single day. And I say this, I have the same 5 shirts. I have 10 shirts. I send 5 of them to get dry cleaned 1 week. And then I pick them up and send my 5 dirty ones back. So I literally wear the same 10 shirts all the time, matched with the same 10 pants.
So you can wake up and go. You don't.
So I wake up, go, put them on.
Set them out the night before. Right?
Yep. Don't even have to think about them being washed or ironed or pressed or anything. They're just ready to go.
I love it.
So that's a big one. Exercise, waking up, just getting the blood flowing is huge. The way you feel about yourself will come across on the phone. If you're just feeling gross about yourself, it'll come across. Third thing is big. Eat something healthy in the morning. Like just get your brain going. Give it good energy. Give it good food.
Right.
Fourth thing, prepare your numbers every day. Know who you're going to call. Again, not spending that mental energy to just
some of those numbers we talked about that we talked about before of, okay, I'm not going to stop until I make 10 contacts tomorrow. Right. Yep. I think that'll take me about 200 or 300 calls. Right. Knowing that you're going to do that before you even jump into it
is huge. Right. Yeah. the cool thing about REDX too, is it gives you all that information. So really you just need to know your lead stack. Like, hey, I'm going to call expireds first.
Right.
Then I'm going to go through and call FISBOs. Then I'm going to do geo, and geo is like your filler lead.
Okay.
So
Well, and that leads to one of our questions here. Do you mostly prospect, geo lead, FISBO, expireds? What does your lead stack look like day to day or week to week even?
Yeah. So new expireds and canceleds. A lot of agents don't call canceleds. I think you have to do something special in REDX to get canceled numbers.
Okay.
So if you have questions about that, give REDX a call. But I had to go through that. Then I call brand new for sell by owners. For sell by owners have been huge for me. Guy Migas, who I see on here, and I called for sell by owners. If you guys want to know how to do that. And then, yeah, geo leads have been really big for me this year. I know you guys offer pre-foreclosures.
Right.
For rent by owners, I do a lot of.
So like vacant rental properties or landlords. Okay.
Yep. So a lot of those have kind of gone down a little bit. So I like to call them, see if they're looking to cash out. And then with a shortage of inventory, those buyers aren't attached to that property. So they might be a little more willing to give it up, especially if you have a buyer.
Awesome. So that's a good lead stack, knowing your numbers, preparing not only how many people you're going to call, but who you're going to call.
Yep.
What's next on that pre-prospecting routine?
Okay. So review your goals and business plan. Know why you're waking up and doing what you're doing every day.
Gotcha.
So if you don't have a goal or a business plan of a number you're trying to hit, it's going to be really hard. I think most of my success this year has been from coming and following my business plan, because self-confidence comes from self-trust.
Okay.
So if you trust in yourself, and self-trust comes from doing what you say you're going to do every single day.
Right.
Which is real estate agents. It's really easy not to do that.
Yeah.
Sixth thing, role play. I role play every morning for 30 minutes, the scripts, and then I role play about an hour every day.
Yeah.
My listing presentation.
Right. This one is huge, everyone. I want you to really listen to role play, because in some of the trainings we did this week, where I was just kind of in the background, I noticed a huge improvement when people role played at least even just 2 or 3 calls, right? That first practice call was choppy. It was sloppy. By the 3rd or 4th practice call, it was incredible. It was smoother. They were more confident. The delivery was so much better. You said you do it for what, 30 to 60 mintes every morning. Is that right?
Yeah. I have this thing where it's like a pride thing for me that I like to be the best. And so I've been trying to get out of that circle of people that push me and will critique me. And so role play has been huge for me, finding someone that's better than you and critiquing you. Be open to critique. But role play is huge, not just the scripts, but your listing presentation as well. Again, 90% mental. If you go on an appointment and you don't know what to say, do you really want to go on that appointment?
No, you're going to be nervous. You're going to mess it up, right?
Yeah, for sure. And then 7th and 8th thing is recite your affirmations. So know what your affirmations are. I know that sounds super cheesy, but it creates that self-belief. It hypes you up. In our training that we did the affirmations. That was fun energy, right?
It was tons of fun. In fact, I'm going to find those affirmations and I'm going to post them in the chat while you explain them a little bit.
I love it. And then the last thing that I do is visualize setting that appointment. Visualize talking to someone that needs your help for whatever it may be. Hey, there's a lot of questions. Holy cow.
Yeah, there are. Okay. I just spammed all those affirmations. I know it's a lot, everybody. Read through those, and maybe I should have just shared the doc, but amazing affirmations saying things like, I'm alive and full of energy. I prospect with intensity. I prospect with passion. All these things really lead. We do have some good questions here. What times of the day do you call?
So mornings. And the simplest answer for why I do it in the morning and why everybody should do it in the morning, the Cotton Home team, is because you're most likely to do it. Things come up in the afternoon. I know how many times I've done it. Like today, I still need to go and prospect because I did that training today.
Right.
So this afternoon I have to do it, but I have a bunch of stuff in the afternoon. So likely I won't get to it, which is why you have to do everything. You're prospecting in the morning.
Excellent. And then do you have a sample listing presentation? or a sample for listing presentation?
So I do a Mike Ferry listing presentation.
Okay.
I think it's a great one. It just kind of goes over, you go over comparables and make sure that their home is priced right. And then I send out a pre-listing packet, which I need to give you so you can send that out to everybody. So I do my pre-listing packet. It has an 18-point marketing plan on there.
Right.
I call and confirm that they've got it, read over that pre-listing packet so they know what I'm going to do. So really at that point, it's, hey, are you comfortable with the marketing plan that we have in place? Yes, we think that you're going to do a good job. Great. Is it proactive enough? Oh, absolutely. Okay, well, all we need to do tonight is decide on price. And so it makes the conversation really simple.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then from Rob, what is your opening line on a cold call for sell by owner, expired, geo leads? What's my home worth? He's been striking out hard lately. Rob has.
Okay, Rob. So all of my lines are a little bit different. For expires and FSBOs, I'm a little more direct and to the point. Hey, so I am super to the point with expireds. Hey, I'm calling to see if you have time to meet this afternoon. And they usually will say, for what? I say, oh, your home expired off of the market. I'd like to interview for the job of selling your home. Just
to the point, right? I want to interview. Let's meet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because reality is they've probably been getting a lot of calls. So it kind of sets you apart of like, hey, I'm not here to give you this fancy fluff right at the beginning.
Right.
Hey, I'm Kent with Summit Realty. I was calling to see if you're available to meet this afternoon.
Right.
FSBO's kind of the same way. You'll put in that with Guy Miguez. If you want to put in that podcast, it shows exactly how I call for sell by owners. What's my home worth? So I usually will not give them a price on their home. I just say, that's really hard for me to tell you exactly what your home is worth without first seeing it.
Right. All the more reason for us to meet tonight.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. Excellent. So we do live prospecting, and we did one with Guy Miguez, who's there in the chat. So we're going to post a link to that. It's an amazing live prospecting session where you can go watch Kent and Guy doing some of this in action. So please go check that out. Kent, let's get to this last point of the pre-prospecting routine. My favorite one, and I hope you don't mind, I'm going to steal it from you. Visualizing the entire process, right? Yeah. So after you've had a healthy breakfast, you've exercised, you reviewed your numbers, reviewed your goals, role play, affirmations, take 5 minutes, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, and visualize the process. And
not the bad parts either.
Right. And not just the commission check, right? Not just the best part, but the whole process of, okay, here's what a good call sounds like. Okay, here's what getting the listing appointment sounds like. Here's what it looks like on the listing appointment, showing the home, signing the contract, right? All the way through.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly it. Knowing, and the more you call, the more you're going to see that people actually really do need your help.
Right.
They're either going to sell for less, or it's going to be a bad experience if they try to sell on their own, or if they go with a bad agent, it's just going to leave a bad taste in their mouth. So for me, I can visualize those positive things and those positive comments that I've gotten back from clients,
right,
that maybe had worked with a crappy agent before, tried to sell it on their own.
I love that. So 8 amazing points to a great pre-prospecting routine. And that is something that you should do and get in the momentum of doing every single day. Yep. So again, if you want to check out that podcast that we did with Kent on his pre-prospecting routine, get more in depth on this, I will post the link one more time here in the comments. Let's move on to our last big point here today, Kent.
Guys. Hey, how y'all doing today?
That
doesn't work like super great in Utah. I mean, it might. I've never tried it.
Guy lives in Louisiana, where everyone is much friendlier, and so they're way more open.
That Southern hospitality.
Yeah, we love it, and so go check out that live prospecting too with Guy. Let's get to this last foundational point of a good prospecting agent, which is what skills agents need to produce results consistently, right? Because it's not just about I need one transaction, I need 4 this year. It's I want this to be a career, a lifelong endeavor. What skills do they need to make it consistent?
I think the biggest skill is knowing what to say is probably the most important thing. Knowing what to say in different situations. So knowing objection handlers, Knowing your scripts, whether we like it or not, we're all scripted. I remember working here and we didn't have a script, which is why I love this job at REDX. But then I was like, oh crap, no, I say the exact same thing all the time.
Right.
So in essence, I was scripted.
Yeah.
So either you can know what to say with something that works, or use your own script that probably doesn't work as well.
Right. And there are tons of scripts out there from tons of different coaches. REDX has some, so if you need those, let us know. We can throw those out there. And I think an important thing that I've heard some agents talk about with scripts, Kent, is that you're right. You need to know exactly what you're going to say, how you're going to say it. But it doesn't necessarily always have to be read off of a piece of paper. If that helps you, by all means, read it off the piece of paper. But otherwise, internalize your scripts. Have lines. A good coach, Dan Elzer, calls them talk tracks. Just basically lines that he knows when to insert verbatim when it makes sense, right? Within the context of the conversation. And then also go off course a little bit sometimes, right? If it's someone who just wants to have a friendly conversation, just have a friendly conversation.
So I'll give you an example. Have you ever asked a real estate agent how the market's doing?
Every day of my life.
What is their script?
Right now they say, well, inventory's low. It's a hot market.
Yeah.
Right.
Inventory's low. It's a hot market. Speaking of that, have you guys thought about selling?
There you go.
Who do you know?
All right.
Yeah. So it's all scripted. A bad script is, hey, Andrew, how's the market going?
Good.
Oh, good.
Awkward, right?
It is. But it's a script. That's how we are scripted and naturally speak. Or, hey, how are you doing? Oh, I'm doing really good.
Yeah. A
good line would be, I'm doing great. How are you doing? How's the kids? So question based, know how to ask questions.
That's fantastic. Well, Ken, this has been so amazing. We're running
Do we
out
have
of time
another
here.
half hour?
We'll have to bring you back on for that other half hour.
Okay.
Or we've got a better option here in a minute. Ken, any last thoughts you want to leave with us today before we wrap up here?
Practice, guys. Like, that's honestly what it comes down to. Practicing every day. I know that we just said, hey, if you don't have anything better to do, you should be prospecting. Truth is, you should be prospecting and practicing, knowing what to say.
Right.
And get accountability.
Right.
That has been huge for me. Start an accountability group with like-minded people. I think that a lot of people will look at it, and some people follow Tom Ferry, some people follow Mike Ferry, some people follow Ricky Caruth.
Right.
Follow and create accountability groups with people in those same groups that are using those same scripts.
Right.
And then, of course, we're coming up on the end of the year. I think we have 9 weeks left, I believe, in the year. What you do now is going to be really important for Q1 of next year.
Yes. Ricky said it on our podcast last week, a couple weeks ago, that right now you should be acting as if it's Q1, right? Prepare for Q1 of 2022 and get that ball rolling now.
It's crazy. A lot of my success this year came from what I did in October, November, and December of last year.
Right.
Because truthfully, guys, other agents aren't working right now. It's cold outside. People don't want to do anything. Well, eventually they're going to want to do
Holidays
something.
are coming up.
Holidays are coming. Yeah,
time for an easy time to take time off.
Right? I had a great Q3.
Right.
I'm going to take it easy on Q4. Well, then you're going to wake up and realize that Q1 stinks.
Right. So always be thinking a quarter ahead. What you do now affects your business 3-4 months down the line.
Yeah. So if you guys don't have REDX right now, just a plug for REDX, you should be getting on it and prospecting for the next 90 days. Because again, it's 90-day cycles. So if you prospect now through the end of January, you're going to see that Q1 is going to be amazing.
Gotcha.
And 2022 is going to be amazing because of it.
Perfect. Well, thank you for that plug, Kent. Leads us to my last point here that I want to talk about. We have an amazing special new training course created right here by REDX with help from Kent, with help from other agents in the industry. It's called REDX Prospecting Bootcamp. If you like what Kent talked about today and what we discussed, and you want to take a deeper dive, get a much deeper understanding of everything that we shared with in-depth role play, live prospecting sessions, one-on-one coaching with Kent, please go sign up for REDX Prospecting Bootcamp. I'm going to put a link here in the chat. I'm going to throw a link here up on screen. You can also just go to our website, find it there. Our prospecting bootcamp, it happens over 3 days for 3 hours a day. And we're currently offering a special introductory price of this whole bootcamp session, $197. That's $100 off the regular price. That includes the prospecting training and a trial run, 2-week free trial of all REDX services. This is for customers and non-customers alike. If you are a customer, you'll get all the rest of the services you're not subscribed to for those 2 weeks. If you're brand new, you'll get all of our services for those 2 weeks. For 3 days, you'll learn so much about prospecting, you'll practice, you'll get coaching, you'll get feedback. Some of those dates, we've got November 9th through 11th, November 30th through December 2nd, December 14th through December 16th. And then we will have more moving into the new year. So please, again, if you liked what you heard today, go sign up for REDX Prospecting Bootcamp, and it will be well worth your while. Wouldn't you say, Kent?
100%. The biggest reason why you're going to do this, guys, is it's not, I think a lot of us get in the driver's seat and just want to observe and watch podcasts, but we never act.
Yes.
This will make you act. So that is our goal, is to get you guys over the phones and get you on there so you can begin prospecting. But sign up for it now. November 9th through 11th is going to be amazing.
The sooner the better.
We're going to get you guys on the phones. That way Q1 of 2022 can be the best you've ever had.
Awesome.
That's my goal. So it's kind of cool for me. It makes me recommit every few weeks to just like kicking butt and prospecting and realize what it's all about.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Ken. Thank you, Sil. Sil was there today for the last 3 days. She was all the way in Hawaii. So Sil was getting out of bed at 3 or 4 a.m. Sylvia, 3 or 4 a.m. just to come learn how to prospect. She wasn't even able to make the calls because it was so early, but she was there interacting every step of the way. Will the boot camp show how to use REDX the best way? Yes. There is an expectation that you familiarize yourself with the product, but we will be doing screen shares, live demonstrations, and then showing you what Vortex and REDX looks like while you make the calls, how to use the dialer, all that good stuff. It's all there. So please go sign up today. I think that does it for us, Ken. Thank you again for joining us for such an amazing podcast.
I saw Ricky put the chair on his head. It's like, should I do this?
We'll leave that for Ricky. I think,
okay, cool.
Maybe next time.
That's like his signature thing.
It is. Okay, cool. So Kent likes to join us for live prospecting too. So please subscribe to us on YouTube. Please follow us on Facebook, because we do weekly podcasts every Thursday, 1:30 Mountain Time, 3:30 Eastern. We also do live prospecting that you can go check it out. Lana's asking, what are the dates again for Bootcamp? November 9th through 11th, November 30th through December 2nd, and December 14 through 16. Lana, if you click this link here in the chat, you'll be taken to our Bootcamp landing page. You can see the dates there and sign up there. So please go check that out. Kent, thank you again. We will be here next week, same time, same place. Please like and subscribe. Find us wherever you like to listen to podcasts, and we will be back again next week. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks guys. Yeah, thanks.
See ya.